If your top 10 people left, who do you have on the bench? Who are you going to move in if Joe or Samantha from marketing leaves? What would happen? They're terrified. Oh my God, our business would shut down. Yeah, it would shut down. Exactly.
Initiating becoming a hiring machine sequence in 3, 2, 1.
Hey everyone, it's Sam Keenly, and welcome back to Becoming a Hiring Machine. This is the show dedicated to fixing recruitment by going beyond saying what needs to change and instead teaches you how to make that change. Today, we have an incredible trending topics ahead of us, but before we get into that, I want to tell you a little bit more about the show. Essentially, we have shows within the show. Sometimes we have interviews with industry thought leaders and others who are shaking up the space, and they're going to teach you how to do something that's helped them be successful. Some days, like today, we cover trending topics, items that recruiters are talking about or will be very soon and what those mean for them. Drop by every Tuesday for a Tactical Tuesday episode where we go deep on how to do something that you can start using today to drive better results. Every now and then, we open it up for Q&A. Listeners can share questions with us that they like to hear us take on. Send those over to us at podcast@loxo.co. And every now and then, Matt will drop by where he shares something that he's been thinking about in his head about the recruitment space and things that you should be aware of. Getting into today, we have a trending topic that has been steadily building momentum over the past handful of years, and it's really starting to break through in 2023. And what it is executive search firms adding RPO type offerings to their client base. So today, Matt's joining us for this conversation as it's something that he's noticed, and he's going to help break down things like, why are these being added? What are some of the types of offers that are being added? And then other people that are doing this along with executive search firms. And finally, most importantly, what I'm most excited about is advice on how you can potentially get started with it. So with that, I'd love to jumped right into the conversation today with Matt.
Looking forward to it, Sam. Can't wait.
Love it. All right. So this spurred from something that you recognized and you shared in a recent LinkedIn post. We can link to it, but the distillation of it is that you're seeing many best-in-class traditional executive search firms increasingly beginning to add RPO type offerings to their client base this year. Why do you think this is?
Yeah, I think anyone that's in professional recruitment and search, even in-house TA, right, realize that there's been a big slowdown in the market. So a lot of recruiters in-house have been laid off, and it's just the geopolitical and economic environment has slowed the market down, right? Hiring. So a big freeze. And so anytime historically when markets shift in recruitment, that's when things start to, it creates anxiety in the marketplace, right? And anxiety forces people to realize, like, what am I doing differently internally, right? What am I doing differently? What happened? And so sometimes we're not zooming out necessarily looking at the overall marketplace and feel like we're doing something wrong. But that's a really good thing. And so old ways of doing things are going to die. The smartest, best in class companies absorb that. They look at new strategies for what to do about it. And then they start to identify how to diversify their revenue through different service offerings. And that's why the old ways are going to go away. And that's kind of the impetus for why we're seeing kind of more RPO type offerings.
Interesting. So yeah, I mean, it's essentially adaptation meets how you stay in the market when not the agencies are becoming more and more commodities, but it's a way for you to extend your value prop to be able to do more that makes you truly like, I'm a need to have partner. I'm not a nice to have partner in a time like this.
Definitely. And adaptation is the key term there. Is, I think, a lot of people, it's scary, right? When companies are not necessarily hiring, or it's your livelihood, right? And large organizations, they're always doing something and they can get more efficient. So from a strategic, talent advisor perspective, you can offer lots of value in different services that aren't necessarily, executive level, hard to fill roles. And, you can offer, and that's what the RPO kind of embedded solutions offering allow you to do. You can productize services and give them certain solutions that are kind of proactive in allowing them to prepare for when the hiring kind of opens back up again.
Yeah. So what are some of those offers that you've seen being added?
Yeah. So there's a lot. There's so many. And this is exciting to see as well. It's kind of a cross section of tech and where it's going as well, and why we're deep into this right now. But a lot of the service offerings, they could be really high level. So succession planning is one that's might not even seem that obvious, but it's a perfect opportunity to go help, your top clients basically look for in every, like, let's identify all of your most important uh, employees in the business and what would happen, obviously, if one of them left or got hit by a bus, right? And so let's build a talent pool and pipeline and help wrap succession planning around that. And they don't have the time, they don't have the resources, they don't have the tools to do it efficiently and at the level that search firms and professional recruitment do, right? And so that's easy, that's low hanging fruit. It's a good way to stay front and center and to, even if they're not hiring, they don't have to hire. You do that when they're not hiring. That correlation with talent pipeline development. And so obviously you would be doing that for kind of high level, hard to fill and executive level roles, but also for evergreen roles. And it can go all the way down to call center. It doesn't matter. And everyone knows that, but every large organization, large enterprise, any large organization, if they're not building talent pools and pipelines, they'll want to. And again, it goes back to, they don't have the internal tools, the acumen, the right resources, but they all want it and need it because they don't want to have to be on the defense, and they don't want to be at a competitive disadvantage with their competitors who are strategic and are doing these things. Once you do it, you already know who the top 5% of talent are. You already build relationships with them. So you can help set these up and set them up for your client. And, again, it's you'll grow more quickly from this revenue wise and through it as a strategic advisor than you would just waiting for just a few, strategic C-level roles, which come around once in a blue moon. I don't know if you want to have me go through a few others, but those are the easiest.
Yeah. No, one thing I do like about that is I'll use like the sports team analogy with that is you have teams that are planning years in advance who they're going to draft, what positions they need, because, it's like you have your quarterbacks retiring or your point guard's going to leave. They know who's coming up, what people they want. They're not just waiting until the quarterback finally retires, like, come on, quarterbacks, come apply. We'll take one of you, whoever's looking right now. They're getting well ahead of it. So that's the same type of item here. And of course, that's my head goes to athletics, but it's such an easy way to think ahead for, like, if you do, because you want to bring on like the A players, the people who are going to help your organization, your team continue to grow. So you need to proactively be thinking about not just any quarterback, but who are the top 3 that we absolutely want to have, and how do you start that conversation with them or make sure that they would be interested in joining?
Yeah, 100%. I love that analogy too. It's actually easy to frame it that way. So it's also a lot of recruiting organizations and recruiters are fearful too, right? Automation, AI, replacing them. Technology's job is to help make people more efficient and move up the value chain. The era of talent intelligence, you have to do these type of things, and that's where you do add value. This is where you are strategic. And again, your clients, they're not going to have time to do this, and it's not as difficult as it even sounds. But the succession planning, talent pipeline development are huge. Diversity recruiting, obviously, in every space is very similar. So more strategic initiatives to help your clients who are looking to solve those problems, like talent market mapping and forecasting. That's also, similar to pipeline development, but you can put stats around that and help them identify like new offices in different geographies to open up, or forward thinking and planning, right? You can charge a lot of money for this, and you can charge different levels of services that you're not used to. The big search firms of the world, the Korn Ferries of the world have been in the Heidrick. They've been offering these type of services for a long time, but they're much easier to roll out now and deliver without having to build out the infrastructure. You don't have to build out the infrastructure. There's also like tech-driven ones. So setting up tools that align with your clients' different needs and services needs. They don't have to go and find different vendors. They can come to you for more of those. So they need to have a centralized system, which could be like a recruiting CRM, but that stores all of their candidates that apply, and then have those applicants ranked by AI. They're asking and begging for that. They also want internal mobility solutions that are ranked by AI. They don't have those. They're looking for them, and they don't know how to manage these. And then even kind of managing programmatic job board posting, because they don't have to pay for as many different third-party job boards all over the planet and can have it all centralized. But then just simply managing that. So like you can manage their recruiting CRM or the talent intelligence platform for them. They're going to have no clue. You'll be 3, 4, 5 years ahead of them. And then you can even help consult and advise them on how to integrate it directly to their HRIS, which is pretty trivial now, but they don't have the time. They would pay some consultants way too much money to do that anyway. And you can offer these solutions, manage it for them, and then they're reliant on you for the length, for perpetuity. Essentially, is they don't want to roll off that. Having somebody else come in and manage it, they feel like it's too much work and headache to have somebody else take over. So you're betting yourself in that client relationship for long term.
Yeah, I love it. And all of it's by, like you said, kind of adapting meets just taking advantage of what you have, because again, they don't have the time to spend learning all these different things, looking into it, especially if they're, a smaller team or they don't even have recruiters at their organization. And that's why they work with you. All of this will put you head and shoulders above so many of your competitors and truly make you that strategic partner versus just another recruiter, just another recruiting agency, something like that. So one thing that is interesting that you mentioned is that you're not just seeing this with executive search agencies, but you're also seeing this within private equity venture capital firms, that they're starting to roll out some RPO offerings. Explain that one a little bit.
Yes, the powder keg of all the capital on the sidelines has to go somewhere, right? And that's where a lot of growth is in tech. But it's moving all over. It's moving to every industry. And PE, it's just like, again, it's all markets, but there's so much capital. What's happening is PE, VC are unique in many ways, and they deploy that capital. They need to deploy it primarily to find talent really quickly. So it drives a lot of the ecosystem. But also, like, as we all know, that there's only top 10%, right, of talent that's really being headhunted and being recruited on. And the rest are going to apply in different roles. But even that, you can get more efficient. But where we're all playing is you need to find the very best possible mutual fit. So what the PE VC world do is they're doing these things. They have these networks. They know who the best people in AI and tech and cloud and SaaS are, right, in their verticals. But they don't have one centralized system. It's a mess. And they try to build their own. They hire way too many, 100 engineers, which is absolutely crazy. They overbuild these things. It doesn't work or solve their team's problems. It's wild. So what we're starting to see is PE, VC are exactly like RPO, right? They have in-house needs. They're going to look for their own talent. They want to leverage that talent intelligence database over time to then basically predict and build off of and recommend, but also look at talent insights and market insights and leverage more importantly, their network of their internal employees. And so that they know, like, okay, relationally, who's spoken with Sam before? Like, oh my God, you actually worked with Sam before. Tell me a bit about him and make sure that he aligns with this culture, right? Whatever it is. But they're trying to surface those. And then they also want to have a couple other options is they want to work with external search firms, but then basically invite them into their own search that they're working on and keep all the data isolated, which is really tough, right? It sounds trivial. It's not. And so essentially you're going to be inviting in lots of different third parties, controlling accessibility. You can still all collaborate on the search. And then the final part is they have portfolio companies, right? And so you might want to manage and jump in and out of searches for founders, right? Hey, we're going to help you find a new VP of engineering or head of product or head of marketing. If you need some help, let us know. We're here. We have a great network. They, tap me in. And then the PE VCs either tap into their search firms to help, or they also work on it, on their own. So kind of all of the above, and throw whatever resources it requires to just hire the very best possible humans, right, for every search. So it's kind of all hands on deck type of approach with PE VC. But you need a really, really sophisticated platform that can handle that and do that. And that's why we're seeing tons and tons of PE VC firms adopting that model.
I was going to say, is that a hint, hint, wink, wink, Loxo? Yeah, no, I mean, hearing you explain this, that makes it sound so simple, so common sense. So the next question that I always try to think of is like, what would recruiters ask? And it's probably you're going to be hearing a lot of, we aren't doing this currently, but we probably should get started exploring this for ourselves. Like, do you have any advice for people that may be sitting in that camp?
Yeah. So I share this a lot. I think part of my job as we continue along with Loxo, besides sharing vision, is, it's important to communicate very simple. How do you simplify everything? And so let's just start in the most basic, low-hanging fruit way. Just pick one client. Pick your favorite client, who you love, who you're obsessed with. They're obsessed with you. They're not going anywhere. And spin up you'll have your own Loxo instance, or you can have if you use a different vendor or provider, hopefully they have something like this for you. So you already have that recruiting CRM, right? And so now you create a sub instance, a child instance, if your system has that, and you simply manage it for them and offer it to them for free. Like they've been a great customer of yours or not, and invite them into the portal, the client portal, and you're going to manage it for them. You're going to set it up. You're going to manage their careers page. You're going to push the jobs out programmatically. You're going to show them, but you're going to offer one of these services, right? You're going to say, let's identify some roles internally, your top 10 roles. If your top 10 people left, who do you have on the bench? Who are you going to move in if Joe or Samantha, from marketing leaves? What would happen, right? They're terrified. Oh my God, our business would shut down. Like, yeah, it would shut down. Exactly. How much would that cost your business? It would be catastrophic. It's a $2 million loss. Okay, well, let's get ahead of that, right? And so we're going to help you, and we're going to build a pipeline of 100, 300, 500 of the very best possible candidates in the whole country. And we're going to help you evaluate them. We're going to help you start to build relationships when you're ready. Oh my God, are you kidding me? You can do that for me? So start there. Really simple. The other option would be try selling it. That's what you're in business for, right? Find a client or a partner and offer those, and feel free to come up with a new way to diversify revenue. Come up with the products that you want to offer succession planning, offer talent pipeline building, offer market mapping if you're at that level and you want to pull in some analysts and pull in some more data and graphs. Obviously, the more time and effort you put into it, the more you can charge and the more value it adds. But like simple stuff, pipeline, succession planning, diversity planning, you can do those really, really quickly and simply, and you could, enhance your relationship. You could get in while they might not be hiring, and charge for it and see what they're willing to, what their palette is, right? Maybe you can double your revenue from that alone in a market that you were terrified and you're running around worried about. How do we do BD? How do we do BD? You don't need to do business development always. You might just have to look at your existing client Rolodex and offer solutions that they really need and they're not getting right now to solve business problems at a high level. They'll find the budget. Be an advisor. They will always find the budget. You'll save them money. You'll mitigate risk, and you don't have to beg for contingent fees. You can be an advisor for the long term.
I like that. And I know we've touched on it. It's like, it is being a true strategic partner and thinking about how they think, and also having conversations with them, recognizing either what are you all focusing on right now? Like, what are you struggling with? What's important, and seeing how you can tie in, or asking some of those tough questions that like, what happens if Jenny leaves? Like, do you have a plan for that? So yeah, you don't always have to be filling up the top of the funnel. As you say, it's how do you make the most of the existing relationships that you have? How do you show that you are thinking from the lenses if you were an employee for them, not just how can I get as many possible dollars out of them as I can?
Completely. And, I think a big part of this being a talent advisor, that's why they're relying on an external partner. They're mitigating risk on roles that they have to. They're looking for confidential searches, but they also want to be ahead of their competitors and peers. And they're coming to the ones and the search firms and partners who are not doing the same thing. And they're saying, listen, I know you're probably aware of this in AI and where the market's going. And you're probably even looking at where do you take the future of your organization and how do you bring in more tech? And you can just have these conversations. You can even show them the interface, a couple of these products, show them an example of what it looks like. And it's just like, it's pretty natural and organic. And you're helping them understand like, hey, it's called talent intelligence. This is the future of, you're not recruiting, you're not posting and praying. You're being a talent intelligence advisor, and you're setting these things up so that they're set up for success in the future. Again, you're at the front of the table, kind of leading all this. And so the more experience you have, the more conversations you have with your clients and hiring managers, they'll also give you feedback that then adjust and change your products. And, who knows, it might even drive, I know for a fact, we'll see a lot more RPO embedded solutions offerings, but you might end up becoming one of the biggest drivers of your revenue growth over the next, 5 years, especially as companies laid off so many in-house internal recruiters. They're not going to be able to hire quick enough, right? And so they're going to really rely on external agencies when the market does warm back up.
Yeah. So adaptation, playing to your strengths. This will be fun to watch play out, because I mean, you can almost see this crystal ball that a lot of this is going to come into play. So yeah, this is exciting. Hopefully it spurs more people to start having these conversations internally, or if you're ever curious, like, you want to get a little bit more specific on how to do this yourself. I know there's plenty of recruiters and agencies that we work with, or like reach out to us. We're happy to talk you through it. This is definitely going to be something that comes into play more and more. So before we wrap, anything else you want to add to this, or is that do it for us today?
No. Just, tell your wife happy birthday for the weekend. And hopefully everyone's doing well and had a great week. And that's it. That's it on our end.
Perfect. Well, as always, appreciate you joining us for this show. I always love having these conversations with you because I learn so much, and I hope that, it does inspire other recruiters to start thinking about this, incorporating these topics into their day-to-day, or simply asking questions that can help lead to this. So everyone, that is the show. That is another Trending Topics episode with Matt. So until next time.